gentlemen, it's the Gary Maxwell Show. And now here's your host, Gary Maxwell.
You're too kind. Thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very fortunate today to have with us a man who has had the experience of dying and being brought back to life. Now that doesn't happen very often. I can think of maybe one person who died and was brought back to life, but I don't know if our guest is on quite the same plane with, JC. But his name is Silas Greenleaf, and he has written a book about his experience of dying and being brought back to life. It's called, very catchy title, I Was Dead, by Mr. Silas Greenleaf, So, without any further ado, we'll just bring Mr. Greenleaf out and see what he has to say about dying and the consequences thereof. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Silas Greenleaf. Come on out here. Thank you. Nice.
How you doing?
Have a seat here. Pretty good. Mr. Greenleaf, well, first off, how are you feeling? It's got to be quite a traumatic experience to die. Can you clue that on? Well, you can just hold it. That's okay. As I was saying, it must be quite a traumatic experience to die and then to be brought back to life. I could see how that could leave some aftershocks in your mind. How are you feeling now?
Still a little bit dazed.
Have you
with the whole thing?
And you think you've recovered from your experience adequately?
Well, I wrote the book.
Well, I'd say that's probably a good indication that you have recovered. I understand book sales are really just flying.
Oh, yeah. I had 150,000 copies in the first week, they tell me.
That's really great. And once again, we'll show this is the book, I Was Dead, by this man.
Catchy title. Huh?
Catchy title, very catchy. Mr. Greenleaf, I understand that, from the hospital report, you were legally dead for 5 minutes, I believe. Isn't that right?
That's what they say, but, it could have been, it seemed like to me, it was a couple of days, I mean, it was great.
But time was distorted in the sense that you were supposedly, you actually were dead now for 5 minutes, but you thought you were dead longer, or exactly what?
Yeah, it seemed like a couple of days. I'd say 2 days.
So just how long were you dead, would you say?
2 days. 2 days.
2 days. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, how did you die exactly?
Oh, that's sort of a funny story. The nurse in the operating room stumbled into one of those large portable lamps, and it fell over and hit me on the head and killed me.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you were dead after that?
Yeah, well, I was there, in that place that where it all happened.
Well, Mr. Greenleaf, a pretty obvious question, and I don't want to delve too deeply into your personal life. If this offends you, let me know before I ask it, but I'm going to ask anyway. Did you go to heaven or hell?
Oh, heaven, man. It was great.
You definitely went to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in the biblical sense, one supposedly goes through, I think it's called limbo, isn't that right? Limbo first, but you went straight to heaven, right?
I tell you, there was a big room, and there was all these funny lights all over the place, and it was heaven, yeah.
A big room with lights.
Mm-hmm. And there was these spherical objects all over the place too.
Spherical objects.
Yeah.
A little more description for people who haven't been there yet. They might want to know.
They were lined up on troughs along sort of alleys, like in this
alleys?
big room. Mm-hmm.
And spheres.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Greenleaf, it sounds like you're describing a bowling alley or something like that.
Yeah, it was it was like a bowling alley.
Bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. Well, what were you feeling like at this time? Did you feel at peace? Were you at one with yourself? Did you have a sense of being outside looking in, or just how did you feel?
Oh, well, I was having a good time.
Good time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Did you have wings?
No,
No wings.
Mm-hmm. Spent a lot of time at the bar that was there, and the bartender, he was pretty nice. He was telling these funny jokes, and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Since you've been there, I don't guess there's any chance you might have brought back any memorabilia with you or anything like that.
Well, I did bring back some slides. I don't know whether you can look at them or not. I brought them with me today, you know.
Slides?
Yeah, well, I didn't have a camera with me, but they did have a souvenir stand where you could buy souvenir slides at the candy counter, you know, beside the bar.
Uh-huh.
And I brought some back of just the local people in there.
From the bowling alley.
Can we show that now?
Sure, before we do that, I'd like to backtrack just a second. This was a bowling alley, you insist was a bowling alley, right?
Yeah, it was. There was people in there bowling. No, I'm not too good at that, so I didn't.
Did you see anyone?
I stayed at the bar.
Did you see any old friends up there, you know, having a bowling game or two?
No.
No, didn't see anyone you knew.
No.
Okay. Well, all right. So you did bring back some slides, and I believe we have those slides. If we could.
Yeah. Now the first one.
Look here at the monitor.
One is. I think. Oh yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's some of the dancing girls that were in the bar. They were dancing on the bar there.
Dancing girls in the bar.
Yeah, and the next one I believe is the bartender.
Can we see that one? I don't believe that's up yet.
It's the bartender.
Is that the bartender?
No, it's not up there yet.
Well, no, I believe that's the first.
No, those are the dancing girls on the bar.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand. They aren't showing the second slide.
I'm
the
sure
bartender, he was a weird
bartender.
guy. You should have seen him.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
That's the bartender.
Yeah.
That's very interesting looking fellow.
Well, they were all sort of strange, you know.
Yeah.
There, but
that's good. Did you?
And this is where I stayed that night. You know, it's a nice little place. It's just down from the bowling alley.
Holiday Inn. Very good. Well, I must say, Mr. Greenleaf, this is all very impressive, the evidence that you brought. But
it's all right there in that book, too. Y'all
right there in the book, yeah. Mr. Greenleaf, of course, any crackpot could have gone out and taken these pictures and could insist that he, too, went to heaven. I think you're a little full of it, Mr. Greenleaf.
Well, I mean, you know, I was there. I mean, that book there. I mean, it's 150,000 sold in first week, and it's all in that book there. So you know, it should be pretty true. You know, I mean,
you're a fake.
No. You see, it's all in the book, so it's there. It happened. You know.
All right, give me a little more evidence. I mean, support your claim.
Well, I did bring back one thing that, you know, the bartender, he sort of thought that if I tried to tell people about it too, you know, they'd not believe it. So he did give me a little something to bring back, and I don't know whether I got it with me right now or not. Let me check. See,
ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to show you. We are going to have some evidence from heaven here. I just want everyone to realize we are getting evidence. We will see part of heaven right here.
And he said that if the slides don't convince him, this should. So he gave me his eye to present to you. Yeah. And so if you would.
What do they have? Interchangeable parts in?
Yeah. Here you go.
Heaven.
There you go.
Interesting. Is an eye.
Yeah.
Can we show that on the monitor?
You can have it if you want to. It's sort of getting a little sticky.
This is an eye, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I am convinced without a doubt that this man has been to heaven, definitely. Well, next week we are going to have on our show, Jesus, I can't remember. I'm so shaken up, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen an eye from heaven. What do you think about that? We will have another show next week, so tune in next time for the Gary Maxwell Show, and who knows who might show up. Thank you.
And buy the book.
Buy the book also.